Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charles, and I welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and when we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. In today's episode, I am going to have so much fun. I want you guys to stick around for this one. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. This is going to be fireworks. So let me just go ahead and get into this topic right here. So about, I would say 3 days or so ago, Patrick Beverley started making appearances on ESPN shows like Get Up, ESPN First Take, and various different shows. And he was on there basically speaking his mind in a way that Patrick Beverley speaks his mind. Y'all know Patrick Beverley is very abrasive. He's in your face type of guy. He's not going to pull any punches, and he's essentially going to tell you what he thinks without a smile on his face. He ain't gonna be smiling about it. He's going to tell you what he thinks, and he doesn't really care. And I think, and since Patrick Beverley has been on ESPN, he has created a firestorm in the NBA world, right? To the point, in fact, where you had players like Damian Lillard and Matt Barnes basically going at him because they said, wait a minute, this guy is a little bit too disrespectful of Chris Paul. And they basically, try to check him on it. And I called it then, and I said that, listen, this is total hypocrisy. This is total hypocrisy because I believe that people were only taking issues with Patrick Beverley because he wasn't saying nice things about certain players. That's what I think. I think if Patrick Beverley was up there saying a bunch of nice things and geez, sucks, golly, oh my gosh, man, oh wow, this is so beautiful, I don't think anybody would take any issues with Patrick Beverley whatsoever. But because the guy has some strong opinions about various people and he wasn't up there twerking it up all over the place, some people took exception with the way that he was speaking. And I called some hypocrisy on that. Now, let me get to the second point of where I'm trying to get to. About a month or so ago, Redick was on ESPN First Take, and he's a constant. And he was on there, and he was having an argument with Mad Dog Russo, who comes on the show every Wednesday. And they were having an argument, and he said some very disrespectful things, or he basically disrespected an entire generation of NBA players and fans. The backdrop of what they were discussing was, is Chris Paul, or could Chris Paul potentially be a top 5 player of all time? So for those of you who missed the comments that Redick had to make about the former players, take a listen to what Redick had to make, what he had to say about Bob Cousy and the players that he played with in his era. Take a listen to that. We're going to come back here.
He lost that series when he was on the Clippers. Missed 4 free. Was it 2 or 4?
No. It was. I was on the team. It was
he missed
a
some
turnover.
Free throws.
He fouled Russell Westbrook, and then he turned it over on the last play.
Didn't he miss some 2 free throws?
There was no free throws involved.
How about last year in one of the games against Milwaukee? Didn't he have 5 points in Game 5 against the Bucks and was awful in a game?
Okay.
If you are an NBA Hall of Famer.
What about the entire Lakers series where he couldn't shoot a basketball? Physically couldn't raise his shoulder and arm above his head, and he gutted it out and beat the Lakers.
I give him. He did the good.
So does he get credit for that?
We are putting him on this level of the all-time greats. When you put him on the level of the all-time greats, you can't have these kind of games.
Is he an all-time great, JJ?
You can't put.
He's absolutely an all-time
point guard.
He's an all-time great point guard.
Without question.
If he wins a championship, he's in the conversation for the greatest point guard ever. I'm not saying he's the
he's not. The greatest point guard. He's not Bob Cousy. He's not Bob Cousy.
Bob Cousy couldn't dribble with his left hand.
Bob Cousy changed the game. Chris Paul didn't change the game.
Bob Cousy won championships when there were 8 teams in the NBA and you had to win 2 playoff series.
Guys, hold on.
Let's celebrate Bob Cousy in his era, but you can't compare pre-1980 with
yes, you can.
With the modern NBA. No, you cannot. No, you cannot.
Well, how about Weston Oscar? Can you compare Cousy with Weston Oscar?
The great players could play in any era. There's no doubt about that.
Cousy was first team All-NBA when Weston Oscar were playing. And he was first team All-NBA. That's against Weston Oscar.
Well,
first team All-NBA. Has Paul ever been first team All-NBA?
Did Bob Cousy ever shoot over 40% from the field in his career?
Well, we understand that.
Did he ever shoot over 40%?
Probably 39, 40%. Different kind of game.
Not once.
Not
once.
That's fair. He also had 29 assists in an NBA game.
Oh, well, he was being guarded by plumbers and firemen.
Now, those were his comments, okay, and they went unchecked. Nobody said a bleeping word about it, right? And now it seems as if, as I was doing some research this morning, I stumble upon a video where Bob Cousy himself, the Celtic legend himself, finally responded to JJ Redick. And boy, oh boy, we can't wait to play for you guys what he had to say. So for those of you who did not hear what Bob Cousy had to say in response to the comments that JJ Redick made on ESPN First Take when he was going at it with Mad Dog Russo, take a listen to what he had to say here. And we're going to come back here and react to that. Take a listen to what he had to say here.
People with less talent will always try to make a name for themselves by criticizing other people and hopefully getting some attention and perhaps increasing their credibility. So when you respond to something like this, you play into their hands. I won't do that, but I will defend the firemen and the plumbers that he referenced. And I'll just give you a few of their names of these firemen that I played with and against during those years. How about Bill Russell, the aforementioned, not too bad a player. Wilt Chamberlain, remember that guy? He wasn't bad. I recall. I guess he must have fought fires as well, but in any event, Wilt Chamberlain, still the best, in my judgment, small forward that ever played the game. A guy named Elgin Baylor. A couple of point guards that weren't too shabby. My colleague who also had an award created, a guy named Oscar Robertson, who was pound for pound the best player perhaps in the game. Jerry West wasn't too shabby. The guys on our team, Sam and Casey Jones, a guy named Hondo Havlicek wasn't too bad. Tom Heinsohn, Frank Ramsey, George Mikan, Bob Pettit. I could go on and on. And we must have had the best firemen and plumbers on the planet at the time. So, and I was very proud to play with all of them.
Now, let me just tell you something. He just basically he just put him in his place in a very, 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 very calm way. And this is what you get when you're too emotional or get over emotional about things and you get too protective. This is what you get. This is what you get. I've said it before. I've noticed that JJ, and I like him. And funny enough, when JJ Redick first got announced on ESPN, we did a video about it. I can't remember, maybe 4 or 5 months ago. No one really saw it. The video didn't get a lot of views. Not a lot of people saw it. But I said, I hope that he goes up there and does a great job and is very, provides some excitement. We've done a bunch of videos about him basically calling out Stephen A. Smith, because I said that in the past I believe Stephen A. Smith generally tends to dominate his guests. He did that a lot with Max Kellerman, and I applauded JJ Redick for basically going at him, and a lot of people supported him for that. But I've noticed as of recent he's very, very player centric. He defends players all the time, like literally all the time. He doesn't really call anybody out, and if he does, he kind of dances around it. Well, in this case, if you heard, did you hear the names of the players that Bob Cousy just listed? Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, Elgin Baylor, Oscar Robertson, Havlicek, Jerry. Did you hear those players? Do those guys sound like plumbers? Do they sound? All of those players he just mentioned, I believe, are all top 75 players. Did you hear the names that he just mentioned? Listen, I think it was wrong to disrespect an entire generation of sports fans and players. That was unnecessary. I don't care how upset you get. You don't need to do that. Why are you doing that? There's no need to do that. And because you did that, you now have players that frankly that have much more gravitas than you, basically calling you out. And he basically did to him what these players tried to do to Patrick Beverley. He basically said, who is this guy? That's what they did to Patrick Beverley. We did it on the video. They pull up a tweet of Patrick Beverley's stats, and Damian Lillard said nobody guards this dude. And people are like, who's the Patrick Beverley? Well, that's what he just did compared to a Bob Cousy and those other guys. Now you see how it feels. You just got a taste of your own medicine, and now you can't say, "Oh, well, this is an older player hating on a new generation." No. I just give you an example of a younger player disrespecting an older generation, and this is what you get. And now it seems as if this guy, Bob Cousy, just basically put him in his place. He put him in. So what's going to be the response now? So to me, I think it was just fantastic. And I thought the minute I saw the story, I was like, this is something we absolutely have to cover. So what I want to know from you guys is this. Do you think Bob Cousy was well within his rights to say what he had to say about JJ Redick, or do you think that, listen, he went too far? And also, do you think that JJ Redick should have apologized to to those former NBA players and fans, really, for basically saying he doesn't care about the people that watch basketball at that time? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. And I also say this one thing here: this also proves the point that I made before, that just because you played on an NBA level, it doesn't mean that you're going to be fair and balanced whenever you're covering sports. Period. End of story. It doesn't mean that. Just because you played the game doesn't mean you're going to be fair. And that was a notion that some people try to throw out. Well, you played the game, so therefore, no, that's not always true.